Hey, hi everyone, this is Mukesh from learnautomation.com. So today we'll talk about how to write CSS in Selenium WebDriver and what are the different ways to write CSS. So let's see the high level agenda first. So today we'll talk about CSS Selector in detail. Then we'll talk about CSS versus XPath, when to use CSS, when to use XPath, and finally we'll see the different ways to write. Actually, there's some slight mistake in the slide. It should be different way to write CSS. Let me modify now itself. Then finally, I have a quick assignment for you. Okay, so let's see one by one. So recently I published a post on my blog which talks about on the same, like how to write dynamic CSS selector in Selenium using different pages. So in Selenium we have different locators to identify web element and perform operations. So I have captured a screenshot from Eclipse. So majorly we have 8 selectors, or you can say locators, to identify web element. So these are class name, CSS selectors, ID, link text, name, partial link text, tag name, and XPath. So you will use CSS selector and XPath uh, frequently whenever you deal with site which having the dynamic content, because it will allow you to write custom CSS and XPath, and with the help of CSS and XPath you will be able to handle dynamic objects as well. So this is an in interviews you will get common questions like what is the main difference between XPath and CSS. So the first difference, like CSS is faster as compared to XPath, and the reason is CSS does not actually in Selenium, if you notice, XPath engine will evaluate your XPath, then it will identify your element. But CSS, it does not, you can say it does not have any engine, so whatever CSS you will write, it will directly identify and it will perform. So CSS is faster as compared to XPath. Another difference that is very important, CSS will not change based on the browser. So if you work with XPath and if you work with iBrowser, for some element XPath will change, so your mostly script will fail in iBrowser. But if you use CSS, it will behave in the same way. So I have listed down the iBrowser issues and how to write XPath. So just go through this and you will get the exact uh, difference between XPath and CSS. So CSS select is one of the way to identify element. So I have published different ways. So before moving to the different ways, let's check this table. You need to remember some of the symbols that we are going to use throughout this video. We will be using this hash symbol whenever we have to use ID. If you are using class name, we need to use dot operator. When you will use attributes, you need to follow this syntax. Do not worry, I will show you how to use them. But as of now, just have a quick look. Uh, we'll specify the tag name, then attribute, and the specific value. So the third one is mainly focusing on the single attribute. But if you have to use multiple attribute, you need to add some more attributes in this way. Then the last three, that is again very important to handle dynamic objects. You need to find a pattern, like what part is changing. Based on your requirement, you can use either contains, either start with, or ends with. So CSS works on these symbols, so you need to remember for contains we will use star symbol. For start with, we will use this arrow one, upper arrow, and last one ends with, we'll use this dollar symbol. So let's go through one by one. I will take this dummy application, that is your WordPress application. So I already started my Firefox, which has this Firebug and Firepath is enabled. And by default, when you launch this, you will get XPath here. So you can select CSS from here. Now go to the next part and let's start with this. So let's say I need to search all the anchor links on this particular page. So you don't have to use forward slash, backward slash here. Simply type A. A means anchor line, anchor tag. If you hit enter, what it will do, this anchor tag will find all the anchor uh, tag on this particular application. So I can see here I'm getting three matching nodes. One is this WordPress logo, then this lost your password and back to WordPress demo install. And if you see console as well, I'm getting three matching nodes, right? And each node contains some attributes. So this contains title, this contains title, href, and it contains your classes as well. So right now we have not given any condition, so it is matching with all the nodes. Let's have a quick look. If I need to search all the input field, okay, so simply I will type input, and you will notice it is matching with 6 nodes. That is your username, password, checkbox, this button, and some hidden attributes as well. Sorry, hidden elements. So we have noticed whenever we are giving any tag name, it is matching all the elements. But while working with Selenium, you need a specific element so that we can perform some operation, right? So we can add some filters. So now if you notice here, I have some attributes for this input. So if I simply type input, it is matching all the elements. I need to check this ID, class name. I need some filtration because I don't want all the nodes. I want this username so that I can do some operation on that. So for that you need to use this bracket. Do not use @ symbol, we use in XPath. Here you can directly specify, let's say this ID equal to, and before equal to, if you simply hit enter, if you type ID, you can see now previously it was 6, now it is 4. It So this CSS says find all the input tag which contains ID. So you can see all the input elements are coming which contains ID. This also contains ID, this also contains ID, and two more, right? But I need an input tag which contains ID, and ID I will give complete user underscore login. So this is again the filtration process. So now you can see if you put mouse over here, it is identifying your username, and here also you can see it's one matching node. Let's do one more. If you don't want to take this ID, no problem, you can go with this name attribute. Here I will say name. Right now no matching node because it contains some other name. So it contains name equal to log. See, it's matching. So again it is matching with the same node because the thing which we have changed only the attribute, but still we are focusing on the same element. So this is the first way you can specify a specific attribute, and based on your attribute it will search. Now let's say let me give a quick class. If I simply say class equal to input, so you can see I have two matching nodes here. It means there are two elements with the same name, with the same class name is available. So I can specify more conditions. So if you see right now, this input and this input contains the same class name. So I can add conditions like I need input which has a class name equal to input and name equal to pwd. See, it's matching with the unique node. So here what we did, we added one more filtration. We have given one more conditions. It will um, find the node based on your conditions which you have given. So this first way, using single attribute, using multiple attribute. So this is the same which I have mentioned here. Single attribute I have mentioned, multiple attribute I have mentioned. Now this is again very important. Finding CSS using ID and class name. So let's say I have input. So I've noticed 6 matching nodes are coming, and I notice I have directly ID. So if you want to take this ID directly, what you can do, copy this and use hash and give the ID. It is matching with the unique node. So it can be your interview question as well, like if you are giving ID, what symbol you will use. So if you are completely fine with the CSS, you can give the possible answers, possible questions which can come from the CSS related topic, right? So make sure you practice all this which we are discussing right now so that you can give some answers. Now ID is unique. Now what if we have class? For class you need to use dot operator. So let's say if I go back to this login. So I can see here I have ID and I have this button primary. So let's search. If I type input dot and class name, see, still I'm getting one matching node, that is login. So if you have class name is unique, you can use this dot operator. So it will find the element directly. So this is one of the most frequently used one, using ID and class. But make sure while dealing with class, because generally it will not be unique. In this case it is unique, but not always. So in case if it is not unique, try to give some more locators here. You will only use get the importance of this importance when you start working on this. So start from today onwards. So the next section is finding CSS using contains. So if you already have gone through the XPath video, we have predefined methods there. We can use contains method, start with, ends with. But while dealing with CSS, you can use symbols. So there's one star symbol that we can use here. So let's say I need to search this username. I can see here ID contains user underscore login. So let's search. Let me check. Do we have some other here? Other names? Okay, no. So let's see this one. Here we have ID equal to user underscore login. So I don't want to check this. I need to check only this login. So I will write find one input tag where ID, and I will use the star symbol, equal to login. Even though I have not given the full ID, it is identifying my element because I have used star. Star means contains. If that ID contains login, please find. So yes, we are getting one matching node here and it's identifying your element as well. So if we need to check one more, let's do one more. Let me check for this password. I can see this user underscore login, user underscore pass. So this part was repeated, right? But this is constant. So let's try one more time. I will say find input tag which contains ID. So I will use star for contains and pass. So congratulations, again it's matching with one node. So you can use this and trust me, it is very important. Now if you talk about one very general scenario, let's say I have one ID and this ID is dynamic. So I have one customer, so ID will be customer 345. So when I refresh this page, ID is changing and this time ID is customer 675 or 676. So I noticed this part is constant, right? Or you can do this in this way. So you can use this, find an element which contains id equal to user. So it will match with this node even though this part is changing. It will directly search for that partial keyword and it will return you that element. So the this one and the next two will be very useful while working with dynamic elements. So just try this in some other applications, or if you want to give a try in this, you can um, try all these methods. So the next one is start with. Start with you can use with the same. Let's say you have the same ID, and this time we don't have this user. Only the starting pattern is constant, like customer 345, customer this, or you can say some other as well, like customer uh, this. In this case, I can see a pattern like first part is constant. In that case, you can use the start with. So let me check. Yeah, I think we got the right example. So here, if I check, this user is coming, right? User is coming for username and password. So if I say find an input which contains ID, and here you need to use this upper arrow equal to user. So you can see in this case I'm getting two nodes because it is checking ID start with user. So here we have two IDs. This is username and this is password. These two are starting with this particular keyword, right? So right now we got two. In case if you want to add like condition, here I can see I'm getting two nodes. So what I will do, I will quickly add one more attribute. Here we go. So I use multiple attributes. I said find an ID which start with user and name contains log. So I got the element. In the same way, I guess hope you understand this. This is dummy application, so I do not have much element, but you can try with your real applications and trust me, you will enjoy this because CSS works faster and you will notice the performance issues um, when you run a script completely with CSS and another script with XPath. You will notice some slightly difference you will get. So this is all about start with. Now the last one, and that is again very important. Now you got the different pattern, like end part is constant. So I have example for that as well. Now if you go to this username, let's go to this password. Okay, so I have this input and I can see a pattern here, user underscore login, user underscore pass, right? So initial part is fixed, but last part is different. So I can use that, like it should end with login or it should end with pass. So let's say I want to search for an input tag where ID. Now here you need to use dollar symbol equal to login. Here we go. It is matching with unique node, one matching node, and here ID ends with login. If you need to search for password, see it's matching with password field. Like this you can play with this and hope I can see some more examples here. Okay, let's try this. I have an anchor link which contains title, password, lost and found. And I'm assuming this will change. Every time this will change. Login, lost and found, password, lost and found, and some other. But I notice this part is constant. So I will use anchor link, title, dollar symbol equal to lost and found. And you can see here, it is only checking this particular keyword in the title and only at the ending point. So you can play with this and trust me, you will enjoy. And I have used the mostly frequently used. Okay, so there are so many different ways like ancestor, following sibling, preceding sibling. That will be more complicated. So soon I will upload part 2 of this. And as of now, using this attributes, using this ways, you can start automating any dynamic application. So as an assignment, you can take any application, your company application, dummy applications, or take some Ajax applications like Flipkart, Myntra, Amazon, Snapdeal, and try your CSS techniques and try to use that CSS in your scripts as well. So that's all for today. If you have any doubt, you can drop me an email, and you can visit my blog for this particular uh, uh, post. I will share this article in this blog description, this video description. You can directly get this in text from the blog post. Okay, thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye.